Assassin's Creed. Wow, I never thought I would ever play this series, to be honest, until I saw someone else playing it and picked up. Well, they were playing one of the more recent ones than the one I was playing. Than I got. I started at the beginning, so yeah. So this one was released in 2007 by Ubisoft, and to best describe it, it is set in an alternate history. But it is very much based on historical locations, historical events in some ways. And it's a very fun game to play. I mean, you play it in sort of two timelines, so to speak. Well, two, I shouldn't say timelines, but two times in history. There is the modern day aspect and the past. And what is revealed here is in the first game, you play as Desmond Miles, who has been detained by a company known as Abstergo. And in the course of the events of the game, you are. Abstergo is trying to find something called the Piece of Eden. However, in order to find it, they need to literally, they have to, well, they have to basically enter into, they have to go back into the memories of one of the assassins. But to do this, you need someone else who was, quote, an assassin. So Desmond must go into this thing called the Animus, which allows him to connect with his ancestors' DNA or a past assassin. In fact, we go, our assassin, Altair ibn Lahad, is the assassin whom we jump into the life of. Of course, there's a small training section in the beginning of the game, and then you basically get into the main part of the game. This game involves a lot of parkour and moving around. And between sequences, we jump back to Desmond, and we start learning that somebody there is trying to help us. But you see, Altair had grown arrogant and started to ignore the creed of the Assassin Brotherhood. You see, assassins were not supposed to kill innocents. You only kill your assigned target. If you're in a fight, well, that's kind of hard to avoid. The Assassin Brotherhood is at sort of a war with the Order of the Knights Templar. And Altair was sent with two brothers, Malik and Kadar, to Solomon's temple to retrieve the Apple of Eden. Of course, Altair is blinded by arrogance and botches the mission, resulting in Kadar's death, but Malik was able to get the apple before escaping. Well, Altair partially redeems himself by fighting off a Templar attack on their home base of Masyaf, which is an actual location, Masyaf Castle. So they based it off of that. They designed everything based off locations, known locations, to bring it that very lifelike feel. And his mentor, Al Mualim, demotes him and orders him to assassinate 9 individuals in order to regain his previous position and honor. I'm reading that a little bit from the wiki. So each assassination, we go to a location, either in Acre or Acre, or Damascus, or Jerusalem. So, the past part of this game is set in the Holy Land. Playing this and traveling through these areas, I honestly understood why my late paternal grandmother wanted to go to the Holy Land, because they did their job. Ubisoft did their job. These are beautiful games. You could hear me a bit gush on the episode of Games My Mom Found where we covered Assassin's Creed. I'll definitely put a link in the comments, or put a link in the description so you can check that episode out. I enjoyed doing that episode. In fact, I've done all of the. Well, by the time of this recording, I've just finished actually revelations for the podcast. So that's going to be going up there too. Anyhow, so Altair must go to each location. Now, of course, the first thing to do is find the Assassin's Bureau. And once you find the Assassin's Bureau, you will be working in one of the districts of the city. Everything will be confined to a district for the most part. And the cities are divided into 3 districts: poor, middle, rich. Now, when you go to find each person, your job is to first find information on them, so you can plan out how you're going to strike. It probably won't go smoothly regardless. As it is, you have to complete up to 6 tasks. Actually, you won't, like for the first ones, you have to only do 2. And then for future ones, you must do 3 before you can take on your target. Now you research these targets and get this information by doing various things. Some can be rather easy, like eavesdropping on a conversation, where all you have to do is sit in the area and just focus on your targets and listen. To an interrogation, where you must find one of these various speakers, listen to them, follow them, punch them into submission so they'll talk, and then, of course, dispatch them. Or pickpocketing, which is a little trickier. In order to pickpocket, you, of course, need to first catch up to them, lift their, without getting caught or spotted, and while you're close to them, just pickpocket them. It's a weird kind of thing to watch your character just reach forward as you're following this guy and hope to grab the item before they stop and look back at you. Sometimes you have to, when you go to one person, they're going to tell you another person has it, and you got to race to the other person. Or you're going to have to escort someone so they can escape due to circumstances that they got themselves in serious trouble. Or perform timed or stealth assassinations. Yeah, they got these 3 crossbowmen that makes it very difficult for us to do our job. So if you could take them out, that'd be great, and I'll give you this information. Or I did a dumb thing and I crossed the wrong man, and now they're looking to kill me. Can you take care of them for me? Or even a race where you have to run around an area and grab 20 flags. Those are actually easy because they're in a good circulus route, so you can easily do those. And from what I've heard, these were added basically to pad the game. But if you ask me, they were good decisions because for some of them, you actually have to really use your parkour skills and stealth skills. I mean, you got to kill these characters without being detected. Well, some of that is just easy if you stay up on the high and not get spotted. But others are a little bit more tricky because, hey, this guy's walking here. Of course, some get tricky to perform because, somebody just has to, as you as you progress, it's harder and harder to be sneaky. I had a few times where I was walking through and was like, okay, I gotta take care of that target there. I'll just walk. Assassin! Oh, shit. And sometimes that's because of a Templar that's nearby. But your main task, once you get the research done, is, of course, to take out the target and get back to the bureau. Now, the targets are 9 individuals who are, quote, known Templars, with their, quote, so-called Grandmaster. And these are all, a majority of these are actual names from history. Garnier de Nablus, for one, who was known as Garnier Sirius. He was 10th Grandmaster of the Knights Hospitaller. Bit of a doctor when performing mind-altering experiments. William V, Marquis of Montferrat, who was supposedly in Acre as a regent when he was cruel and abusive. Master Sabrand, founder of the hospital in Aachen, he's the paranoid leader of the Knights Teutonic, who planned to betray the Crusaders by blocking the ports of Acre. Jubar al-Hakim, who in the game is a scholar using his position to seize and destroy all written knowledge in Damascus. You know I enjoyed that one. And the leader, who is Robert de Sabal, who was the Grand Master of the Knights Templar at the time. Now, as you go through your targets, the list of 9, as Altair, in the present, Desmond is finding out some things about Abstergo. And finding out that there is something going on that he's not fully aware of. There's apparently there is signs of an escape being planned, that the person helping a gentleman named Dr. Warren Vidic, one Lucy Stillman, is actually a member of the Assassin Order. And she's trying to get you out of there and keep you safe. Possibly. And that Abstergo is actually the modern face of the Templar Order. And they're seeking these pieces of Edom to use them for control. So, as we're running through all this, we also learn that Altair has been starting to question why he's going after these individuals. You see, he is discovering that some of the Templars have some of the same goals as the Assassins, but instead of counting on free will and goodness, the Templars want to impose a lack of free will. And that the apple possesses some great powers. The apple of Eden. Now, of course, he's also becoming more humble. Altair is becoming more humble and wise, and makes amends with Malik, who's now in charge of the one Assassin's Bureau. The last mission, the last of the 9, even if you look at it, looks different. Because each section is sort of divided into, quote, memory segments. One for each of the 6 investigative tasks. One for going to find the person and going to face off, finally going on the hunt. And the other for, quote, completing the hunt and then returning back. But there's 2 others that are, quote, optional. 1, finding all the viewpoints in a certain area. And helping all the citizens that need help in the area. But with Robert de Sabal, there's another one after it. You see, as you are eliminating these people, Amuellen basically puts it that you are delivering a message. with each person you eliminate, the message becomes clearer and clearer. Robert de Sabal, expecting himself to be a target, pulls a move as he is going to attend a funeral for one of the previous people that you took care of. He has a decoy set, a Templar named Maria. When Altair is about to, quote, kill who he thinks is Robert, she reveals that Robert had anticipated the assassin would come after him and went to negotiate alliance between the and the Crusaders and the Saracens against them. Even commenting that you have the lives of 9 of us on your side. He's like, as evidence, and he said, no, 8. Which surprised her. What? I said, you're not my target. I'm not going to kill you. He spares Maria's life, which I think has an effect on her. But I won't go into that right now. So Altair then goes and confronts Robert in the camp of King Richard. I think it's the first, because I think that was Richard the Lion. Was that Richard Lionheart? Well, he was King Richard at that time. That was probably Richard the First. And expose his crimes. Now, unsure of whom to believe, Richard suggests a duel to determine the truth, remarking that God will decide the victor. Of course, in typical fashion, Robert has his men go fight Altair first, and then once they're all dead, Robert goes in. But after Altair mortally wounds him, Robert even says, I've been, to a degree, protecting you as well. As Robert identifies that Amuelin was the final conspirator, the 10th of these individuals, revealing that the latter betrayed both the assassins and the Templars to acquire the apple. During this time, Altair returns to Masyaf. Now, of course, between this memory and, of course, that last one, Desmond has learned about all the details by actually getting into emails and all that. I mean, throughout these intermediate chapters, you can actually swipe some stuff and get some stuff that allows you to, access people's emails and all that. And there's a very clever the extraction's going to happen today message hidden in Lucy's emails. I mean, it's kind of obvious to me, but it's something you wouldn't necessarily catch unless you actually read. But you also learn there's others, and that these people are up to a lot. So we go back with Altair, and he's confronting Amualem, who has enthralled the entire village there, enthralled the entire population. And literally plans to end the crusade by imposing order by force, which the apple would allow him to do. Of course, Malik also finds out that after being told it was a trap, that Malik, the last assassination attempt was a trap. Now Llewellyn, he's now also finds out stuff that Al Llewellyn hasn't been totally honest with them either. So Malik and has some of his people come to the aid. So the two speak for a moment, and they split the. They do an attack, a split attack. Malik and his people are going to go by the back way. While Altair goes the front way, and Altair will then, faces off against Amualim, basically fighting against the powers of the apple. And after a fight that ends in the killing of his mentor, he goes to destroy the piece of Eden, the apple, but instead unlocks a map showing the locations of other pieces of Eden all around the world. At this point, we've completed the memories. Vidic reveals to Desmond, of course, figured it all out, that it's a modern day front for the Templars, and that they're seeking, other pieces of Eden now. And some of Vedic's superiors were in our room watching this. Of course, Vedic's superiors say that that Desmond should be killed, but Lucy convinces him to keep him alive for further testing. So we get, left alone, and we learn that Desmond has now unlocked his own eagle vision. As we can see markings all over the room, even in the quote bedroom, we see massive markings, which is where the game ends, and the story leaves off on a bit of what could be a cliffhanger. Had I played this at the time, which I couldn't because at the time it was exclusive to PlayStation and Xbox. Of course, later in the year, the Microsoft version was released for Windows, and I was in not a state to pick it up at the time. But what we learn is that Desmond is, of course, at this time, like I said, if I had gotten this at the time, I would have been upset about the obvious but not saying to be continued ending of the game. But now that I'm playing them, it has beautiful music. It has a very good story to help introduce you to this alternate history world. The love and time they put into this series is notable. I'm also going to say this. I mean, after a disaster in 2019, I believe, one of the Ubisoft offered their information to help in the restoration of a very famous historical and religious landmark from one of the games in the series, which I will eventually play. This is a game that I say you must experience. Not only for the beauty of it. If you're not able to travel to different destinations in the world, you can get to see some of these beautiful areas, like the Holy Land, which can be a very, very difficult place to go to, depending on the time in history at the time, the state of the world. It's beautiful to travel amongst these cities. It's beautiful to, be able to run across the rooftops in these cities. And when you climb up to the viewpoints, you get a wonderful view. The viewpoints are wonderful. I mean, they even add something to, make you explore. They have like missions to complete. Finding flags in each of the areas. And also, reducing the Templar population at the time. This is a beautiful game. It gets repetitive. But the sheer beauty and the exploration value, that makes up for it. It's a work of art. I recommend you play it. And that's all I'm going to say about the first Assassin's Creed game. I hope you enjoyed me talking about this game. And I hope you check the game out yourself. Thank you for listening. Bye.